Hi everyone, it's Albert Torcaso and this is Humanity Matters. For my audience at home, you know, in life sometimes you're put in a position where if you're a talk show host, as I am at this point, you get to meet people you would not otherwise meet. You get to thank people and let them know how you feel about them. You may not otherwise be able to do that. And such was the case when I talked with the late Mayor Bob O'Connor, and I was able to interview him. And again, when I got to interview Dr. Cyril H. Wecht. And interviewing Dr. Cyril H. Wecht was not just an honor, but almost unbelievable in the sense that this man has been interviewed by literally imagine. So having the chance to interview him not once but twice was amazing. To give you an idea of what today means, as wonderful as it was to interview Dr. Cyril Wecht and also the late Stephen Lazinski, who was on Chiller Theater as Stephen the Castle Prankster, interviewing them was fantastic. Interviewing them was exciting. Some of these people were my heroes. Childhood heroes. But today supersedes even that by about 150%. You see, all my life, for whatever reason, I've really cared about our Constitution of the United States. Really cared about every word that is in the Declaration of Independence, and of course, every aspect of freedom. And by default, I've always cared about the military. And I see them in a different way than most people probably see them. In fact, probably I see them in a different way than they may even see themselves. So today, I'm like flying so high that I could probably get to the planet Jupiter in about 2 seconds. So without further ado, you see the title of this episode is Our Heroes. And I have heroes or heroes with me today. I have Tony, I have Brian, and I have Kate, and I have somebody off in the audience that I'm glad she's here too, but we won't or anything unless she wants to. But at any rate, I'm not gonna sit around with a lot of introductions. I'm gonna get straight to the point, but I'm gonna have Tony say the last names and what branch of the service they're in, how long, and all that fun stuff. So we're gonna make Tony our special guest host of the day, since he jokingly said off camera, I'll be your new guest host. So now, since you said it, do it. And now to Tony.
Well, thanks, Al. As he said, I'm Tony Canzaneri, and I am here with Brian Joseph on my right, your left. And then down here on my left, your right is Miss Kate Ryan. Brian Joseph is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and Kate is in the Army here in Pennsylvania. And I was an Army veteran myself.
So all of you are heroes. Now, let me ask you, I'm gonna come out and start asking you questions right away. When you hear the word and somebody says to you, you're a hero, tell me what comes in your mind. How do you feel about that?
Well, actually, honestly, when I think of a hero, I think of men like Brian. The men and women that went over, and actually every veteran, I believe, is a hero, or any military person is a hero. But I think some are a little bit above others.
Okay.
But in my mind, anybody that has ever checked at some point in their life to Uncle Sam, you know, payable up to and including the cost of their life, is a hero in my eyes. So.
I agree with that. So you said that Brian is also one of your heroes, and you're a military guy, so that's really saying something. Tell me why Brian is one of your heroes.
Well, actually, I don't want to tell Brian's story. I'd rather he told his own story. Right?
Okay, but I mean, but why do you feel he's a hero? Because of what he's done, or?
Well, yeah, with certain rank
Right.
comes a certain prestige, and
Right.
whenever you've achieved a certain rank, you put yourself head and shoulders above
Right.
other people, and taking other people's lives into your hands, and
Right.
not only caring about yourself, but, and every military person will say this, everything you do is for the person on your left and right.
Right.
But Brian had people on his left as well as, you know, a couple levels below him. So I appreciate people that act admirably in those circumstances, and you could tell by talking to him, especially as a veteran, the type of leader he was, and it was a good type of leader, type of person I aspire to be as a leader. So.
Well, that sounds good. Well, you better measure up to him, or you wouldn't be. You don't want that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not that you'd be scared of anything, being that you're a hero and a veteran, but you wouldn't be afraid of me, would you? I'm just an innocent Italian guy, you know. You're Italian, so I couldn't be that mean to you, right?
Yeah, we're good buddies. We're all
right, there you go. Well, how about you introduce Brian? What are you waiting on?
Hey,
He
Brian
has a
Joseph.
last name. Why don't you know, come on.
Mr. Brian Joseph, United States
better.
Marine Corps. Here we go.
All right. Brian, it's your turn.
What? What do you want me to
I
say?
like I said, Brian.
That's not a question, is it?
Actually, tell us your story if you don't mind. First of all, before you start that, when did you decide, at what age, if you can remember, did you decide you wanted to be in the military, and why? And then tell us your story.
I decided at a real young age that I'm a Marine. I think I was about 4 to 5 years old.
Okay, you might want to speak closer to the microphone.
Okay. Anywho, my parents always go traditionally to the Cannonsburg 4th of July parade, and that's the first time I ever saw a Marine. They were dressed in their dress blues in the parade marching, and that's what I've always aspired to be since I was a child. So.
All right. So your entire life. So tell us your story, and if you want to share any experiences. I understand that you may have a Purple Heart or two.
Yes, sir.
You want to maybe throw any of that in, and how do you feel about that? It's up to you. Talk about what you want to talk about. This is your turn. You're the heroes.
I honestly, the Purple Heart to me is I always jokingly say that and $1.50 give me a cup of coffee downtown. So, you know, it is what it is. It's just something that it's a too slow award or whatever. But I think there should be degrees of them. There's a lot of guys out there that you know, severely maimed or lives are changed forever. You know, I have an ongoing injury that it does stop me from doing certain things, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm able to work every day. I'm able to, you know, hug my kids and do whatever I need to do. So it's not as bad as other people, you know, have it. So to me, the fact that I have one, it doesn't. I'm honored to have the privilege to, you know, sacrifice myself for this country, but I don't harp on it. I think is what I'm trying to say. It's not something that I hide behind.
Coming from a civilian, let me just say this, that the fact that all of you are willing to do that, it makes by definition a hero. It also takes a certain kind of person. I mean, you know, it is a very frightening thing to have to be in any combat, anytime, and to just, in addition to that, say, you know what? I'm going to stick my neck out even further so that my friends and family or what have you aren't attacked, or I can save them. So you deserve that, you know, Purple Heart, and I'm sure that all the people have received it. And you're right, there should be possibly certain degrees or maybe some other type of awards, but the fact is that none of you can ever be thanked enough simply because what you were willing to do. But with that, I'm going to probably get into more of that a little bit later. But with that, how about we get to Kate and have her tell her story and why she decided to do what she's doing.
I decided to...
I'm going to get closer to the microphone. I don't know how well it's working.
I decided to join in honor of my dad and my grandfather, who both served. My dad served in Vietnam. My grandfather served in World War II. And so I wanted to make my dad proud by doing so. And he encouraged me more so to go to school first. So I completed my degree at Pitt, and actually I worked for quite some time prior to joining. I joined at 25.
Okay, and what is your degree that you received at Pitt?
I have a bachelor's in communications from Pitt, and right now I'm working on a master's degree.
And will you be a talk show host? What exactly is the career that you're looking to do? Talk show host, reporter, I don't know, writer, what do you?
I'm working on my master's degree right now, and it's in something that's completely unrelated. It's in exercise science.
Well, that's important too. A little bit unrelated, you're right,
Yes.
unrelated. But how did you end up switching into exercise science?
I had hobbies in college where I was lifting, constantly learning about nutrition.
Okay.
And it was just something that was out of personal habit, personal
Okay.
necessity that I decided to on and create a
Okay.
career for myself out of that.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, you know what? It's time for me to kind of take a little break here with the questions, and we're going to have Kathy Payer to my right and to Brian's right ask a question or two. And she's looking at me like, I know you didn't. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And remember, you got to grab the microphone. They can't hear you.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Ay, ay, ay.
I just want to thank all of you for doing all the stuff you did in there, and I'm very honored because I had an uncle who was in the Army, and I had a cousin that was in the Army, I believe, and they said there was some horrible things that happened and stuff, but it's like, why? I mean, I'm just so grateful for you guys for doing the things you do, and I'm proud of you. And if it wasn't for you guys, we probably wouldn't be here today. We really wouldn't. And it's just for all of you. I'm very grateful for you for doing everything you do. You're
Well,
welcome.
that was good. I appreciate that. And guess what?
What?
Now it's time for Annette to ask a question or make comments.
You may
Your
have said
turn.
everything we
Remember to
wanted
grab
to
the
say.
microphone. Oh, you're terrible. You're picking on me. Hey, I
Well-
just moved the table. Uh-oh.
I share the same feelings as Kathy. I'm really proud of these guys
And gal.
and gals.
Don't forget the
And
ladies.
I really appreciate that they came today,
Yeah.
and it really means a lot to us and to our country and to the viewers out there in our country. And I'm sure this is a special episode for everybody because they weren't expecting these guests today. And I want to ask Kate if she's traveled the world.
Not yet.
Not yet.
She will. Well, you should ask that to Brian and Tony.
Well,
here.
Brian and
Anthony.
Tony, did you travel the world yet?
There you go.
Your turn. You're up. You're up.
As far, well, how so? Do you mean just military or just traveling?
In the military, have you?
Yeah, I
been?
can see all kinds of great exotic locations, like the desert in Arizona and the desert in Texas,
Okay.
and then the desert in Kuwait and the desert in Iraq. So I got to see lots of beautiful
You
sights.
saw a lot of Oh, my.
What about yourself?
Pretty dry, huh?
It was nice. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I've been to a couple places, but mostly just Iraq. I got injured my first tour and spent some time in Spain. That was pretty nice, and some other just regular places that we end up. Ireland, Germany. I was only in
Yeah,
Ireland
countries that I'd
in
like
the
to
airport,
visit in
though.
the future.
I only made a touchdown in Ireland in the airport. I didn't get.
Oh, in the airport.
Never left the airport, but
Oh,
Well, you'll get there eventually.
well, that's a
actually the
bummer.
airport bar. I didn't leave the airport bar.
No comment. I refuse to comment. Forget about it. Not saying anything.
But yeah, I've been to different places.
Okay.
But I think there's no place better than here. So
That's
I
interesting.
agree.
Yeah, it's a wonderful country, that's for sure. Well, at this time, I guess I'm gonna let everybody in on a little old secret, which is the main reason why I'm having these guests is that we just had the 4th of July or Independence Day yesterday. And I always like to kind of remind my guests, he's talking, we're gonna pick that up, he's in trouble. Hey, no, I'm kidding. He's not in trouble, I'm just kidding. But we had the 4th of July, and of course, it's all about our freedom. And I just feel that a lot of times, though, we take for granted what that means and how we maintain it, and in every aspect what it is. So I felt like, sometimes it's a good thing to remind people that you have what you have for a reason. For example, sometimes this is going to sound kind of rude and kind of silly, but sometimes if I say, well, I'm going to head off to the restroom, or I'm going to go to the bathroom. And you might think, well, what's this got to do with this? Everything. If you were able to celebrate the holiday yesterday, and you were able, when you felt like it, to go to a grocery store, or even excuse yourself to use the restroom, not to be rude or nothing, you owe it to these men and women here today that you're able to do that. Now, I know that a lot of us don't think in those terms, but I'm going to tell you this. The fact that we can go out and pretty much drive anywhere in the United States of America if we have enough money for gas, gasoline, and the funds to do so, without border patrols, without weapons everywhere. And essentially in America, if you have the money, you can become who you want, achieve a lot of success, but you're essentially physically free. Financially, may be a different story, but we're physically free. We're free because of Brian, Tony, Kate, and yes, it may sound funny saying, well, if you use the restroom, be grateful, because let me say this. I may be wrong. I'm going to ask Brian, Kate, and Tony if I'm right or wrong. But the fact is, usually if you're in the military, especially if you're facing combat, you can't just take a break, say, you know what, I'm going to go out and get a cup of coffee, or I'm going to use the latrine or whatever. It doesn't work that way. And so if you are able to do whatever you do in your life, I don't care what it is. Maybe you're on Twitter, maybe you're reading a book, maybe you're using an iPad or whatever it is. You're able to do that because of the sacrifices that these men and women and millions more are doing today, and millions have done since the beginning of our nation, and actually even before America was formed. We've had heroes. Now officially, we're 235 years old. But let's not forget, George Washington fought and helped back even before America was America. So he was a hero even before then. So if you wake up today and you can go do your errands, go to work, go to college, drink coffee, go to a restaurant, or even just whatever you got to do, it's because of these men and women who decide, for whatever reason, to fight, and also during peacetime, work to keep freedom alive. And so for that, I felt like, yes, I love the 4th of July, but that doesn't happen without these men and women. I mean, when we celebrate the 4th, we're not just celebrating George Washington and all the heroes of the Civil War and WW2, WW1, WW2, the Korean War, Vietnam War, Gulf War, Iraq War, Grenada, you name it. We're not just celebrating one group, we're celebrating every single one of them, because together they kept a tradition alive, they kept this nation alive, and yes, there are many, many, many issues going on with our nation that can be improved. And that's all I'm going to say with regard to that. But thank God, or thank the Creator, for the fact that we still have freedom to work to resolve those issues and to create an even greater country. And this is already one of the greatest nations on earth, but we can make it even greater. And it's principally because of these men and women willing to do what they do, willing to take every obstacle and overcome it, willing to maybe have a 12-hour march. I don't know if they have those, we'll have to ask the military experts here, or facing untold hardships and actually volunteering to do this. So these men and women are heroes. Now, if you want to speak to any of these heroes, you know what you do? You dial 412-231-2288. And with regards to what life in combat is like, I don't want to upset anyone, but I do want to see if I'm right or wrong, that usually when you're in a combat theater, do you have restrooms at the ready? I mean, or restrooms, or even can you just eat whenever you want? So I'm going to put that question to my special guest co-host, who said he's a co-host. So it's your turn, Tony, and then you have a job. After you're done, with your comment, you have to, first of all, answer the call. Whatever they have to say, you deal with that. And then you're going to take it over to Kate and then Ryan. And then your job is to ask a question of them. So you said you wanted to be co-host.
I'm
Never
co-hosting.
say it unless you're ready to play it.
I'm co-hosting.
All right, start speaking. I'm out of here.
So what, your first question was, do we have the freedom to do whatever we want to?
Yes.
That's not, no.
Explain that. Elaborate on that. Tell us a little bit, like, without making anybody have PTSD, tell us what combat may be like, if you've ever experienced it. And the reason why this is important is because we just celebrate a holiday. But most people look at this holiday as cookouts and being with family and watching the fireworks.